So, I've been in and around the tech world for a while now, and one thing that's become super clear is that not all shiny new jobs are what they seem. You can have the best hardware, the fastest internet, the coolest office perks, but if the underlying structure of the company is flawed, you're in for a rough time. It's kind of like having a flagship phone with a terrible battery. The experience is just fundamentally broken. So today, let's talk about the warning signs you should watch out for in the IT corporate world. These are the red flags that might not be obvious during the interview process, but can seriously impact your day-to-day. Recognizing these signs early is crucial. It's not just about job satisfaction, it's about your long-term career trajectory and, honestly, your mental well-being. Getting stuck in a toxic or stagnant environment can burn you out, kill your passion for tech, and set you back years in your professional development. Think of it as a system diagnostic for your career. We run benchmarks on GPUs and test screen brightness, so why not apply that same critical eye to the place you spend a huge chunk of your life? It's about making sure your personal and professional operating system is running smoothly. The goal here isn't to scare you or make you paranoid about every little thing. Instead, it's about equipping you with the knowledge to spot potential issues before they become major problems. It's about being proactive, not reactive. We're going to break down 10 of the most common red flags, what they look like in the real world, and why they matter so much. By the end of this, you'll have a much clearer framework for evaluating not just your current job, but any future opportunities that come your way. So, let's get into it. All right, first up, a lack of clear communication from management. This one is fundamental. Think about it. In IT, everything is built on clear instructions and protocols. Code needs precise syntax. Networks need defined architectures. When the people leading the team can't provide clear direction, the whole system starts to break down. You get emails with vague objectives, meeting invitations with no agenda, and project goals that seem to change every other day. It feels like you're trying to debug a program with no error messages and a constantly changing code base. It's not just inefficient, it's deeply frustrating and breeds a sense of instability. This constant ambiguity creates a ripple effect of problems. Without clear priorities from the top, teams can end up working on conflicting tasks, duplicating effort, or focusing on things that ultimately don't matter. It also erodes trust. When you can't get a straight answer from your manager about a project's future or your own performance, you start to wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. Are they incompetent? Are they hiding bad news? This uncertainty is a huge source of stress and makes it impossible to feel secure or confident in your work. Clear, consistent, and transparent communication is the bedrock of a healthy team. Next, let's talk about frequent, unrealistic deadlines. There's a difference between a challenging goal that pushes you to be better and a deadline that is just mathematically impossible. In some IT cultures, there's this hustle mentality where everything was due yesterday. Management might see it as a way to maximize productivity, but in reality, it's a one-way ticket to burnout. When you're constantly sprinting, you never have time to think strategically, write clean code, or properly test your work. You're just patching things together to stop the immediate fire, creating technical debt that will cause even bigger problems down the line. This constant pressure is corrosive. It means late nights become the norm, not the exception. It means sacrificing your personal life for a project that was poorly planned from the start. Over time, this doesn't just make you tired, it kills your creativity and passion for the craft. You stop thinking about elegant solutions and start thinking only about survival. It's a terrible way to work, and it's completely unsustainable. A good company understands that quality work takes time. They plan projects realistically and treat their employees like professionals, not like resources to be squeezed until they're empty. This next one is a huge tell: high employee turnover. If you join a team and find out that half the people have only been there for 6 months, that's not a sign of rapid growth. It's a massive red flag. It's like seeing a phone with a 1-star rating and thousands of reviews complaining about the same issue. A high turnover rate is the market's feedback on what it's like to work at that company. People don't leave jobs they love, where they feel valued and see a future for themselves. They leave jobs that are stressful, toxic, or dead ends. You should always ask about team tenure during an interview. When a company can't retain its talent, it speaks volumes about the management, the culture, and the work itself. It creates a state of constant chaos. Knowledge walks out the door every time someone quits, forcing the remaining team members to constantly onboard new people and pick up the slack. This means projects get delayed, quality suffers, and you spend more time explaining basic processes than actually innovating. It's a cycle that's hard to break. If a company is constantly losing its people, you have to seriously ask yourself why and whether you want to be the next one in that revolving door. Okay, let's talk about micromanagement. This is when your manager is so involved in the minutiae of your work that you have no room to breathe, let alone think for yourself. They're CC'd on every email. They want daily reports on tasks that should take a week, and they question every single decision you make. It's the opposite of autonomy. Instead of hiring smart people and trusting them to do their job, they treat you like a remote-controlled robot. They're not managing the outcome. They're managing every single keystroke along the way. It's incredibly inefficient and demoralizing. This kind of oversight completely stifles creativity and innovation, which is the lifeblood of the tech industry. You can't experiment or try a new approach if you know you'll have to justify every step to someone who doesn't trust your judgment. It signals a deep lack of trust from leadership, and it makes you feel like a child rather than a skilled professional. Over time, you stop trying to be proactive and just do exactly what you're told to avoid the hassle. It kills your motivation and your sense of ownership. A great leader gives you a clear goal and then gets out of the way to let you figure out the best way to get there. This one can be a bit harder to spot from the outside, but it's incredibly damaging: a toxic work culture, or one riddled with favoritism. A toxic culture is one where gossip, blame games, and backstabbing are the norm. It's an environment where people are competing against each other instead of collaborating. You can feel the tension in meetings. You see people forming cliques, and there's a general lack of psychological safety. You're afraid to ask questions or admit you don't know something for fear of looking weak. It's an environment fueled by fear, not by a shared passion for building great things. Favoritism is a particularly nasty flavor of this. It's when promotions, cool projects, and recognition are given out based on who you know, not what you know. It's when the manager's favorite always gets the benefit of the doubt, while others are held to an impossible standard. This makes the whole system feel rigged. It doesn't matter how hard you work or how great your results are if the rewards are being handed out based on office politics. This is incredibly demotivating and makes you feel powerless. It undermines the very idea of a meritocracy, which is what the tech world is supposed to be all about. Here's a red flag that's all about your future: limited learning and growth opportunities. You might have a decent job right now, but if you're doing the same thing day in and day out with no chance to learn new skills, you're not just standing still, you're falling behind. The tech industry moves at an incredible pace. The programming language that's hot today could be a legacy system in 5 years. If your company isn't investing in your development through training, conferences, or opportunities to work on new technologies, they're not investing in their own future, and they're certainly not investing in yours. A good company understands that its employees' growth is essential to its own success. They provide a budget for courses and certifications. They encourage internal mobility, allowing you to move between teams to gain different experiences. They have mentorship programs. When these things are absent, it sends a clear message. They see you as a cog in the machine, performing a single function, not as a long-term asset to be developed. Stagnating in a role is one of the biggest risks to your career in IT. You need to be constantly learning, and your employer should be your partner in that journey, not a barrier. Let's get into a subtle but critical one: vague, and inconsistent feedback. You can't improve if you don't know what you're doing wrong, or even what you're doing right. A classic red flag is the manager who only says good job, or even worse, says nothing at all until the annual performance review, where they suddenly bring up issues from 6 months ago. Feedback should be a continuous, real-time conversation, not a once-a-year ambush. Vague feedback, like "you need to be more proactive," is completely useless. What does that actually mean? Give me specific, actionable examples. Without clear, consistent, and constructive feedback, you're essentially flying blind. You don't know if your work is meeting expectations, where you should focus your efforts for improvement, or what you need to do to get to the next level. This uncertainty can be a huge source of anxiety. It also hinders your growth. You might be making the same small mistake over and over without realizing it because no one ever told you. A good manager acts as a coach. They provide regular, specific guidance designed to help you get better. If your feedback loop is broken, your professional development will be too. This is a scary one, but it's important. Sudden layoffs without transparency. Now, layoffs happen in the tech industry. It's part of the business cycle. But there's a right way and a wrong way to handle them. The red flag isn't the layoff itself, but the way it's communicated. If one morning you see a bunch of your colleagues' accounts have been deactivated and their calendar invites are disappearing with no official word from the company, that is a huge sign of a toxic, fear-based culture. It shows a complete lack of respect for the people who are leaving and for those who remain. This kind of secrecy creates an atmosphere of paranoia and destroys morale. The remaining employees are left wondering, "Am I next?" instead of focusing on their work. They lose trust in leadership because the company clearly doesn't trust them with the truth. A healthy company, even when delivering bad news, is transparent. They explain the business reasons for the decision. They treat the departing employees with dignity and respect. And they communicate clearly with the remaining team about the path forward. How a company handles its toughest moments tells you everything you need to know about its true character. Let's tackle a big one: excessive unpaid overtime and a general resistance to work-life balance. In some parts of the IT world, there's a badge of honor associated with working insane hours. It's the culture of rise and grind, where sleeping at the office is seen as a sign of dedication. Let's be clear, this is not healthy, and it's not sustainable. If you're consistently expected to answer emails at 10 p.m., work weekends to catch up, and your vacation time is frowned upon, you're not in a high-performance culture. You're in a culture that doesn't respect its employees as human beings. This constant-on mentality is a direct path to burnout. It blurs the lines between your job and your life until there's no separation. Your creativity plummets, your physical and mental health suffer, and your relationships outside of work are strained. A company that truly values its employees understands that rest is productive. It knows that people do their best, most innovative work when they are refreshed and have a full life outside the office. If a company's business model relies on the unpaid, uncontracted overtime of its staff, it's not a well-run company. It's a company with a flawed model propped up by exploitation. Last but not least, let's talk about unclear or constantly shifting role expectations, and its close cousin, unrecognized contributions. This is when your job description seems to change weekly. One day you're a back-end developer, the next you're being asked to do project management and QA testing, all without a change in title or pay. Or maybe you're the go-to person who solves all the hard problems, the one who stays late to push a release over the line, but when it comes time for promotions or bonuses, your name is nowhere to be found. It feels like you're playing a game where the rules and the score are constantly changing. This creates a ton of frustration and a feeling of being undervalued. How can you succeed if you don't even know what success looks like for your role? It's impossible to build expertise or a clear career path when you're being pulled in a dozen different directions, and when your biggest contributions, the ones that require extra effort and skill, go completely unnoticed. It's deeply demoralizing. It tells you that the company either doesn't understand what you do or simply doesn't care. In a healthy environment, your role is well defined and your impact is seen, acknowledged, and rewarded. So, those are 10 of the big ones. 10 red flags that can tell you a lot about the health of an IT workplace. We've covered everything from communication and deadlines to culture and career growth. And like I said at the beginning, the point here isn't to make you want to quit your job tomorrow. It's about giving you a toolkit, a diagnostic checklist to objectively look at your situation. Some of these things in isolation might just be a minor bug, a small annoyance, but when you start seeing them in combination, that's when you have a systemic issue that needs your attention. I really encourage you to take a moment and honestly assess your own workplace against these points. How does your company stack up? Are you feeling energized and supported, or are you feeling drained and undervalued? Your career is one of the biggest investments you'll ever make, and it's so important to be in an environment that helps you grow, not one that holds you back. Prioritizing your mental and professional well-being isn't selfish. It's the smartest career move you can make. A great job should add to your life, not subtract from it. Ultimately, you are the CEO of your own career. You have the power to make decisions that are best for you in the long run. If you notice several of these signs, it might be time to reconsider your options. That doesn't always mean quitting immediately, but it might mean starting to look around, updating your resume, and seeing what else is out there. The tech industry is vast and full of amazing opportunities. Don't settle for a bad one. Be intentional, be critical, and find a place that truly deserves your talent.